Okay, now in clue 1, you take 4 matching 2.5-inch print squares along with 4 matching 2.5-inch 2.5-inch white squares. You have 4 2.5-inch by 4.5-inch rectangles. You're going to have 4 background 2.5 by 4.5 rectangles. And you have got 4 6.5 by 2.5-inch rectangles to make your blocks. Now, we had you go ahead in the first clue and take and snowball your corners of your 6.5-inch rectangle and your 4.5-inch rectangle, and snowballed the quarters of that in opposite directions. And we also sewed together our 2.5-inch squares, our print square and our background square. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take those pieces and assemble the sub block. Okay, I'm going to show you the way I put this block together. This goes together really like a log cabin. So it's fairly simple to put the construction together. I take my 2.5 inches that I put together with my dark side of the fabric down. I'm going to take my 4.5 inch because we measured, and that's 4.5 inch. So what goes on next is the 4.5 inch. So I am going to put my 4.5 inch on.
Wait a minute, show how you placed it.
Yeah.
Your hand's in the way.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so I have it right sides together. And what I've been doing is I've been watching how I get this this corner here. Get my corners together good and keep my blocks so they don't get wonky. So I'm going to pull this down and try to get this into the corner where I want it. And get it straightened up as best I can. I kind of keep my finger on this intersection here because I don't want that to move. And I'm going to keep my hand on it and I'm going to slide it underneath here. And you notice I'm sewing this so that my darks are together. My dark here is on the bottom and my dark here is on the bottom. I'm not a Jenny Doan sewer. It's not pedal to the metal. I'm kind of slow. So, snail's pace here. And I have to cut my strings. Okay, so we've sewn on our 4.5 inch. All right. If you see, we have about a 1/4 inch seam here. You don't want your edge here, your point, to be clear out here, or else when you put this block together with other blocks, you're going to cut your points off. So that to me looks pretty good. Looks like I got about a 1/4 inch there. Yep. So that's going to go together pretty good. Now I'm going to take the white one, the white 4.5 inch background square, and put it on the other side. And so that doesn't matter because it's white to whatever. There's no color to match there. So, get my stuff lined up. Okay, and here we go. Alrighty, gonna cut that off now. It is back to the ironing board. Okay, so I think I only finger press that. So we're going to iron that. And I'm going to do this way because I don't want all that seam in my white. That's just preference. That I'm picky.
You're allowed.
So, alrighty. Here's this much of our block. We have one more piece to put on. Now, okay.
Okay.
So now, so far, we've got our 2.5 inch background and our 2.5 inch background, our 2.5 inch print. I'm all confused here. We've got our 4.5 inch snowballed rectangle. We have our 4.5 inch background, and those are hooked together. So the last thing that we have to do for this sub block is take our 6.5 inch rectangle that's been snowballed and sew it onto the bottom. So see, it pretty much resembles...
Wait a minute. Okay, say that again.
Okay. It pretty much then resembles, and the way you put it together reminds me a lot of a log cabin block. So when I put this together, I always color to color, color to color, so that you make sure your snowball's on the right side. So we're going to put this together, and of course what I do is I want to make sure that my little snowballed corner here is where it's supposed to be, to try to help keep my block square. So if it's going to be wonky, it'll just be wonky on one end. Okay, I'm trying to hold on to that and keep it where I want it. I need to take my machine, and he needs a new cutter. She needs a new cutter. Something. I'm going to sew this on there, and you have to watch because that one seam goes the wrong way, and mine wants to get caught and stand up straight. Cut my little piece off. I'm going to finger press that open. All right, girls, there's your sub block. And you're going to make 4 of those, identically the same. All right, so take those pieces and the pieces that you snowballed and put them all together so that they look like this when they're done, and that you got your snowballs in the right places. Okay, that's it for this clue.